Good morning, students. Today we are going to see the first lesson of geography named resources. So, very first we will see what is the definition of resource. What is the definition of resource? Everything available in the environment which can be used to satisfy the needs of human being, provided they should be technologically accessible, economically feasible, and culturally acceptable. This is the definition of resource. So we will go one by one. What is the meaning of this? Everything available in the environment which can be utilized to satisfy the needs of human being. Our needs can be seen, or we can use these things to satisfy our needs. Provided. Now, what are the meanings? Technologically accessible. That means with the technology what is available now, we can utilize it. Second one, economically feasible. Matlab, it should be convenient. Feasible ka meaning convenient. So it should be economically convenient. It should not be too much costly to produce it. It should be within the limit so that the public can utilize it. So that is meant by economically feasible. Third point is that culturally acceptable. That means the society must accept this as a resource. If it is utilized for us and it is dangerous for the neighbors, it cannot be called a resource. So that is meant by culturally acceptable. The society must approve it. So once again we will see the definition of resource. Everything available in the nature or the environment which can be used to satisfy the human needs, provided should be technologically accessible, economically feasible, and culturally acceptable. Okay, this is very important definition you have to by heart. Now, second point, we are going to see what are the classifications of resources. Classification, the divisions. There are so many divisions, that is also a long answer. You have to by heart. So the very first we will see what are the classification of resources. The very first, it is based on origin, birth. So by birth it is divided into two, biotic and abiotic. Biotic means living things, the resources which are living things, just like our cattle, the flora and fauna can be called biotic. Now, second one is abiotic, the rocks or the minerals which are non-living things. So that is the first classification of resources, that is based on origin. Based on origin, there are two. One is biotic, another one is abiotic. Biotic and abiotic. Biotic means living things. Abiotic means non-living things. Now, next one is based on exhaustibility. Exhaustibility means it is the condition that is getting finished, over. According to that condition, we can call them as a renewable resource and non-renewable resource. Now, non-renewable resource which cannot be replenished. We can't get it again and again. The other one, renewable resources which we are getting again and again. Just like water or forest or wildlife. We are getting it again and again. Or non-renewable, the fossil fuels, the metals. Why it is called non-renewable? Because it takes thousands of years for the replenished. In order to we get it again, it takes thousands of years, and within that thousands of years, the human life is not up to that. The human being live only for 70 years or 80 years, that is maximum. So, since it is beyond the lifespan of human being, we can say it is non-renewable resource. So based on exhaustibility, there are two. One is renewable resource. Second one is non-renewable resource. Okay. Now we are going to see the third one, the resources based on ownership. Based on ownership, there are four types of resources. One is individual resources. Another one is community resources. Third one is national resources. The fourth one is international resources. So what do you mean by this one? Individual. It is belong to a particular person. If you are having a vehicle, that is your resource. If you are a house, that is your resource. That is not of public. It is private, individual. Second one is community resources. The resources which are belong to the entire community. If we have a public well in the village, that well is belong to public. That is why it is called a community resource. Next one is national resources. National resource means which belong to the nation. Ultimately, everything is belong to nation. Whenever they can take it up. In our Hindi language, Adhigrahan, the government can take it up. Whenever there is a development projects, the government is free to take up the resources. So ultimately, the things are which belong to the nation is called national resources. Just like the forest life is there, minerals are there, land is there. These are all belonging to the nation. Now the third one is international resources. International resources means which no other country can claim it. Just like the water resources or air. There is a specific boundary for every country that we can't go beyond that. That is for the international community. So it says that ocean, 12 nautical miles belonging to a particular nation. That means from our coast, 12 nautical miles. Beyond that, it is gone to international resource. So, based on the ownership, there are four resources. One is individual, second one community, third one national, fourth one international. Now the next one, based on the status of development, it is divided into four. Four resources are there. One is potential resources. Potential resources which we can utilize it or at the most the technology might not have developed. That means wind energy and solar energy. Even though it is available, we are not using up to that maximum. Next one is developed. Already we are using it, the resources. Next one is stock. Stock, we are saying that it is already stocked. We are not utilizing it. Next one, reserves are there. Just water resources are there, forest reserves are there, which we can utilize in the future. So that is all about the classification of resources. So we studied about four classifications. One is based on origin, second one is based on exhaustibility, third one based on ownership, and the fourth one based on our status of development. Status of development, four are there. What are they? Potential resource or developed resource and stock, then reserve. Four are there. So these are the classification of resources. Long answer with the examples. You have to write the answer. It's a long answer. Can be asked for 5 marks question. Okay. Classification of resources. Now another step is that resource planning is there. If we find out some resources in a particular area, we have to properly plan it to how to utilize it. And that is what the government is doing. So resource planning in India is comprised of 3 complex processes. What are the complex processes? Many times CBSE also asks this question, what are the complex processes in the resource planning of India? So the very first one is that identification and inventory through surveying, mapping and qualitative and quantitative estimation. Identification. That means we have to find out the resources through what are the processes? Through surveying it. Survey. We have to find out where it is available. Then mapping it. Mapping means we have to make a proper area map for that. So that is called mapping. Then third one is qualitative and quantitative estimation. That means we have to find out how much resource is there and what is the quantity of these resources. So that is the first resource planning, first process in the resource planning. So identification of resources by different processes. What are the processes? Mapping, surveying, mapping, and qualitative and quantitative estimation. So that is the first one. Second one is evolving a planning structure with appropriate technology, skill, and institutional setup. We have to adopt a proper technology for that particular resource, how to extract it. The technology we should adopt it. Then we have to find out the human resource also, skill also, in order to find out or extract the resource. So that is the second process. Evolving a planning structure with appropriate technology and skill with institutional setup. We need to have the infrastructure for that. So that is second point. Third one is that matching the resource development planning plans with the overall development plan. Overall means suppose the resource is found in Madhya Pradesh. We have to see in the national level how can it be utilized, for what type of development we can utilize these resources. So that is called matching the resource development plans with the overall development plans. Overall means all over the country, how it is utilized. So these are the three processes in the resource planning. One is the identification of resources based on process. Three processes. What are the processes? Surveying, mapping, qualitative and quantitative estimation. Second one is revolving a planning structure with the appropriate technology, skills, and in institutional setup. Third one is that matching the resource planning with the overall development plans. That means all over the country. So these three points you have to remember. Next one is that how the land is utilized in India. Land is an important resource. The very basic resource is land. Whatever the human beings are doing, it is on land. So we are going to study the land, how land is utilized in India. The very first point is the land is utilized as forest area. Forest area. In order to maintain the ecological balance, we should have a minimum 33% of the area under the forest cover. So first utilization of the land is under forest. Second one, land not available for cultivation. So many areas are there which are not utilized for cultivation. Barren land is there, the land is there, or some other purposes we are used as. Next one is other uncultivated land. Other cultivated means maybe sitting above the factories or a playground, or different uses are there. Then fallow land. Fallow land, there are two types of fallow land. Current fallow land, left uncultivated less than one agriculture year. Less than 1 year we may leave that land, or next year we may cultivate that. That is current fallow land. Next one is other than current fallow land. That means which is uncultivated for continuously for more than 5 years. So they are called other than fallow lands. Two types of fallow lands are there. One is for 1 year it is left out. Another one is there, it is more than 5 years it is left out. Other uncultivated land we are used permanent pastures. Pasture land means the grazing land for the animals. Then culturally wastelands are there where we are used uncultivated for more than 5 years. Then land under tree crops are there. The miscellaneous tree crops are utilized. They are also is utilized under the land utilization pattern in India. So many points are there. One is forest, one is land available, not available for cultivation. Then other uncultivated land. Other uncultivated land में क्या क्या आता है? Permanent pasture land आता है, cultural wasteland आता है, land under tree crops आता है. Then fallow lands. Fallow lands also I told there are two types of fallow lands are there. Uncultivated for 1 year or uncultivated for more than 5 years. So these are the land utilization in a pattern of land utilization in India. So the last point is that types of soils. There are different types of soils are there. That is also another important question in geography. One is alluvial soil. Second one is black soil. Next red and yellow soil, laterite soil, arid soil, and forest soil. Each one is very important, especially the alluvial soil and the black soil is very important portion. You have to study what are the features of alluvial soil. Mostly widespread and important soil in India. The most widespread soil in India is alluvial soil, and that comprises sand, silt, and clay. Silt, that is mix of sand, soil, and all the wooden particles, whatever things. Humus content is there, good. Then classified as Khadar and Bangar. Very fertile, good for the growth of wheat, paddy, sugar, cane, and pulses. Alluvial soil is used for the cultivation of paddy. Paddy means rice cultivation. Then wheat cultivation. Then the sugar cane and pulses. All types of pulses are cultivated in the alluvial soil. Then regions of the soil are intensively cultivated and densely populated. Remember that this point. Alluvial soil areas are most populated areas and densely cultivated land area. So that is question can be asked, why the alluvial soil area is more cultivated or most populated area? Because it is fertile land for, and the people can have the cultivation. Found in Rajasthan, Gujarat, eastern coastal plains. Most of the area alluvial soil in the eastern coastal plain or Gujarat area, Rajasthan area, we can find out. Then come black soil, black colored. It is called black colored soil or the Ragur soil. Another important point. Well known for their capacity to hold the moisture. Then of course it is it is also utilized for the cotton cultivation. The black soil is used for a cotton cultivation, found in Maharashtra, Malwa, and Madhya Pradesh regions. Then red and yellow soil is also developing a reddish color because of the parent rock, diffusion of the iron and crystalline and metamorphic rock. It is because of the parent rock, the color also is varying. Then comes the laterite soil. Laterite soil, very low humus content, and we can say that it is in the South Indian area. We can find out in Kerala, Karnataka, these areas. Most probably we can say that cashew nut is grown in the laterite soil most widely. Arid soil. Arid soil means sandy in texture, sand. Most of the sand area we can find out that lack of humus and moisture. The laterite arid soil, the humus content is very less, we can say, and it is all areas in western Rajasthan area we can find out this area. And the forest soil. So that is all end of the first lesson. Thank you, dear children. We will come up with another lesson next portion. Thank you.